Hey guys, today I wanted to talk about Wilds, of course. However, although most people have said this game is too easy, it's more or less correct, but differently than you might expect. There's some things that are too easy, but some things that aren't. Personally, since I have played Monster Hunter World with about 500 plus hours, I do believe the game's easy, but that's due to my own habits of understanding the game. When I'm in the late game, fighting tempered apex monsters, I do find the game fun at that point, and I just fight whatever. However, it does feel strange that I have to get to the very end game, finding what fighting the tempered monsters at the very end, just to feel like I'm fighting a monster. Because up until that point, it doesn't feel like I'm fighting monsters. It feels like I'm just hitting a punching bag till they're dead. It doesn't feel like they fight back. So right now, I am showing that I have a build that you would get essentially right as you start high rank. I have the Hope Cannon Rarity 5. This is the first one you can get at high rank. This is the Iron Assault, but the rarity is 4, so it's right under. There is a higher one, but it's like rarity 6, and it would be considered higher. I didn't bother going that high, since I don't need more damage. I also have the Bone Shooter, which is also rarity 4, but it does more damage, and I honestly don't need it to show the example I'm trying to today. So, with that in mind, we're going to stick with the Iron Assault. They do the same damage, no crit, and so with that in mind, I have the Hope Armor as well that you get in high rank. And with that, that is also the armor I will be wearing for this example. So I will also have no gem slots equipped whatsoever. So with all that being said, I will go into the first quest that I'd like to talk about. And today we will be talking about Chatacabra. So here I have saved a investigation where I can fight two Chatacabras. These are high rank Chatacabras. It's only a rank 4 mission, but there's two of them, and this is what I will be using for my example today. So with that said, I will go right into it. Once we are in, I will also go ahead and eat a meal and prepare my items. I won't really need my items, but
Are you prepared?
I do at least want to eat something, so let's go ahead and eat a meal. I am eating a meal because this is always available throughout the whole game. I have over 300 meats, fish, and whatever. Um, Basic items are also fairly easy to get, but we'll just go with cheese to reduce defense, and I don't really need anything more than that for this particular example. So, a basic meal, anyone can do it. The game gives it to you for pretty much free. So yeah, increased health and stamina, everyone should also have this. I want to talk about the game's difficulty. However, I'm not simply going to say, oh, the game's too easy, what yada yada. I want to talk about ways to improve the game that isn't just, oh, increased number by X amount. Although, for simple monsters such as these, I do believe they could benefit a little bit from increasing the number, but that is a short-term goal for a complicated question. So right now, I just want to shoot at the monster until it's dead. Um, so first, I wanted to talk about its AI. I do believe it needs to be more aggressive because they take too long. Look, he even missed me. That missed me, and all I'm doing is walking backwards. So I do believe they need to be more accurate. Uh, so yeah, look how long it takes him to recover from just that attack. I believe it's way too long. I was able to dodge his attack just by walking to the side, which shouldn't not happen. Shouldn't happen, should not happen, shouldn't ever happen. Me walking around should not allow me to be able to dodge attacks like that. As such, I believe their accuracy definitely needs to be fixed, as well as just being more aggressive. Like, they shouldn't have such long delays on their attacks and long windups either. It's just unnecessary and feels like it gives us too much of a reward for nothing. Like, I'm not doing anything special. I'm not fighting to earn my wounds necessarily, or I'm not dodging to even to dodge his attacks. Like, I'm not maneuvering or evading. I'm just simply walking backwards or walking to the side to dodge his attacks. And I do believe I should either attempt to block or attempt to evade to actually dodge their attacks. So I do believe they need to maybe be a bit faster or just have less wind up with their attacks and just be more accurate in general, because the game gives you way too much for too little. These wounds on a high ranked monster, essentially, I cannot believe he missed there. For a high ranked monster, this still feels like a low ranked monster. Like, I'm not doing anything substantial to outmaneuver it. And this is still what's considered a giant frog, a giant toad, is what the game, in-game lore calls it. But either way, I do believe this is still too easy. Like, he's flinching constantly. I don't even need to worry about his attacks. Like, I haven't dodged at all, really. And so, yeah, less wind up, less delay, and just less of a punish window. Like, he shouldn't be stunning himself attacking me. It doesn't make much sense. Right here, he shouldn't have stunned still so slowly. I guess that attack is alright, but it should come out a bit faster maybe, because I'm dodging it just by walking to the side. This right here is another issue. This power clash, I didn't perfect guard a single attack, but it still gave me a power clash. I do believe power clashes should be earned, not given. Any shield weapon should attempt to perfect guard to get a power clash. And the heavy bowgun has what's called an auto guard. So it'll just block for you unless you are doing an action like reloading, shooting, equipping special ammo, or unequipping it. Any of those things will not auto guard, but if you're just standing still facing the monster, it will just guard for you. And that shouldn't be the case. I do prefer if auto guard is removed, I should have the choice to block and not to block. So please give me a little bit more agency over my own actions. I would like to manually block. See, I should be hit if I'm being too aggressive. It shouldn't auto block like that. Like, I should have to always press it, and I should be able to hold it, not because right now if I press guard, it unguards itself after a few seconds, and that should not be the case. I should be able to block like any other shield weapon right now, but because the weapon's not like that, this weapon is holding your hand, and I don't believe the game is difficult enough to reasonably do that. So those are just a few points I wanted to point out. Just to finish off what I said, the AI of the monster should be more accurate, more aggressive, Um, the hunter itself should do more to evade and find moments to attack instead of just walking around. The attacks themselves. Oh, there's a mosquito. Oh, I got knocked out of it. Um, the attacks themselves should have less delay, less wind up, and monsters shouldn't be punishing themselves for attacking. They already have a stamina bar, and you'll have your own moments to attack when given. Oh, don't forget to carve. So, how to further improve its quality as a monster? You could increase its health and damage a bit, because I don't think it does that much anyways. Like, granted, I've been blocking this whole time, but even then, I don't feel like I'm worried over any of its attacks. So it should have maybe more unique attacks, like maybe a tongue grab, where it like has this tongue swipe that it's been using on me. Whoa, that was weird. Just went up. But it does have a tongue swipe attack that is used a few times. You guys have probably seen it, but at no point felt threatened by it. I do believe maybe something like that should be like grab. Whoa. Like this. This move should be like a grab. He should, after hitting me with it, should pin me down, should maybe hit me a couple more times and knock me away. I think that'd be a decent grab maneuver for this guy. He has perfectly good hands to grab things. He even looks like he has opposable thumbs for some reason. But either way, maybe just even more of a barrage attack like this, but one that isn't so slow. So the just it should have some kind of unique attack that it could use to just be more aggressive, rather it be a grab or use its arms more to like do multiple hits and not stun itself. And so yeah. Um Aside from that, I did want to talk about armor a little bit. Right now, armors are have always been like this in every game. So even if this part never happens, I did want to mention it. Just like weapons, they have a rarity tier system. Armors also have a rarity tier system, but armor doesn't get upgraded the same way weapons do. And I think that's a shame. Because I think it would be really cool if, let's say, Chatacabra armor had higher rarities to match even Apex monsters. Because right now, the way it's set up is you upgrade your armor to fight higher leveled monsters and so on and so forth. However, this means everyone, I mean everyone, in the endgame will be using like the same 4 armors. Because right now, the endgame will give you Gormagala, Arkveld, Guardian Arkveld, and I mean there's the Apex monsters, but even then, Arkveld's much stronger than those as well. So it'd be really cool if we had. I don't know the rarities of the current high rank armors right now. I do know the armor I have right now is rank 5, so maybe a Chatacabra armor would be considered rarity 6, and so on and so forth. But let's say for this example, Guardian armor is considered rarity 9. I believe there should be a rarity 9 Chatacabra armor. By fighting it more often and upgrading your armor in general, it would be cool to have a armor set that'll just have different skills, because right now everyone's going to be using the same 4 armors like I mentioned before and use the same skills. And unfortunately that is a bit boring. This game has a lot of skills and stats to take advantage of, but it simply doesn't. Oh look, I actually got hit. But, oh, well, I got hit. So much for my great example. Either way, it's not like he's attacking me. I forgot to mention that, but the monster should definitely not have switched when I am in danger. It hit me, I was totally in a vulnerable spot, and I should be punished for that, not rewarded with free time. It should not have switched targets when I'm in a vulnerable position. I feel like that should be a given. Monsters don't just stop attacking you after hitting you. And speaking of my Palico taking aggression, or aggro, um, the Palicos are way too strong. They have every tool in the game, whereas before World, um, you were given the choice of one set of tools, and I believe it should have stayed that way. Right now, the Palico has way too many things in its armory, and just in general, those rocks missed. Oh well, doesn't matter. Like I was saying, the Palico right now is just way too strong, and it should keep its class system just like the Hunter, so that you could choose a single tool set, and it'll do it that way. That attack does a lot less damage than I thought it would. Anyways. Ow. Oh no. It hit me. Anyways. I guess to finish this off, I'd like to mention that weapons, I guess I'll have to show this. Well, I'll be showing a lot of things on screen as I'm fighting. But weapons should also have, a bit more of a variety when it comes to upgrading them. Some weapons, other than the heavy bowgun, have poor visual changes when it comes to upgrading them, and that shouldn't really be the case. The heavy bowgun has somewhat decent visual changes as you upgrade them, so I can't really complain. However, other weapons such as like the greatsword and the bow have very little visual change to their weapon, and I feel like that's really weird, and I'll try my best to visually show it as I'm talking about it. So, as to show what it's like for other weapons and what it's like for the heavy bowgun. And so yeah, those are my opinions, just to have a breakdown of what I've said so far. The AI should be more aggressive, more accurate. It should target the hunter more. It should target the Palico less, obviously. The Palico should have less options. It should have its own class. The Chatacabra should probably have more health in general, and maybe a bit more damage. I should probably use barrel bombs, but because anyone and everyone would have free barrel bombs, but not everyone's going to want to use it. So I'm just going to shoot him. He's going to die soon. What else have I said up until now? He should have unique strikes, maybe more combos with his arms, and more attacks with his tongue, maybe even a grab. His attacks should have less delay, less windup, and less punish windows, because this game has emphasized mobility a lot, and if the hunter has more mobility and defensive and even new counter options, the monster should have more speed or agility or just maneuverability in general to compensate. Some monsters in the later games, such as Mitsusune, Arkveld, Rathalos, Raidao, have this maneuverability. Monsters, unfortunately, like Chatacabra, don't and are forgotten. And I don't believe that should be the case. I've already explained the armor and weapons somewhat in detail, but Yeah, I do think they should have maybe more uh, visual uniqueness and or higher tiers of armors. It took me about 15 minutes with mm, basic gear to fight both of them. Um, I could be misremembering in general, but in general, if you played Monster Hunter World, this is the average time to hunt a single monster. Um, a lot of people might disagree with me, but through my experience in World, granted, I had a learning curve that I will admit. So I will try and keep it simple. Playing the game, obviously, well, I wouldn't say obviously. I personally didn't have that much of a hard time with it either. However, I did have fun with it. A lot more fun, actually. But that was because you didn't have as many options. You didn't get to move around as much in this game or have as much power with guarding or counters and such. And so what happened there was, and I think monsters in World have more health. Like I personally, through my learning curve of the game, took me maybe 20 to 30 minutes to fight monsters. At first, I thought this was normal. The game gives you a quest time limit of 50 minutes. So I thought in my head, if I finished the fight between 20 and 30 minutes, that is average. That was not until um, once I reached endgame, I'm maybe around 100 to 200 hours at this point. I started decreasing that time to a more consistent 10 to 20 minutes. But in my head, I'm like, oh, I'm just getting better at the game. I'm getting better armor and better weapons, while the monsters are staying at a certain point while I'm continuously upgrading. Once Iceborne came around, uh, the same difficulty curve came back to me again. I struggled fighting monsters, and my time for fighting monsters changed from 10 to 20 minutes back to 20 to 30 minutes. I was still taking forever to fight monsters. Um, Around, I would say, 400 hours playing the game, that is about when I had my click. Everything just made sense all of a sudden. And I was able to drop my time by half easily. I, at that point, pretty much almost never had fights that lasted more than 20 minutes, but even then, fighting a single monster still took me between 10 to 20 minutes, depending on its difficulty. And in my case right now, I fought two Chatacabras in the span of 15 minutes, and I wasn't even trying to speedrun it. I'm pretty sure a speedrunner could finish this in 2 minutes or less. This should be obvious. Even speedrunners finish every monster in Monster Hunter Worlds in 2 minutes or less. There are speedrunners out there that have done that, and there's video proof of it. Regardless, I don't believe this game should be balanced around speedrunners, but through the average player. Um, is it unreasonable to think that fighting two Chatacabras should take more than 15 minutes? Because in my head, is a personal opinion, a personal bias, so in the end, I just want to discuss the difficulty of this. If a game gives you 50 minutes to hunt a monster, hunting one monster should take maybe 20 minutes. So therefore, by that logic, hunting two Chotacabras should take between 30 and 40 minutes. It took me half that while not taking it seriously. Like, I could have had a build, I could have gem slots, I could have higher equipment to make this go much faster. And that is the point I want to make. I think there should be more difficulty to these sort of monsters because, in the end, that's what they are. They are massive monsters that we get to fight and enjoy. But I didn't even pay attention in this fight. The game just almost played for me. All I did was shoot my gun, and the gun blocks for me. So I've made my list of things that should be changed. I didn't mention or I didn't include health and damage on my list because I think those are short-term goals or short-term answers to a long-term problem. Um, as such, I will just finish my speech here because I will move on to other monsters and talk about them and think of ways to how they could be improved as well. It will likely be a lot of similar things that I have said now, but I would still like to go over each of them and talk about them individually because I think each monster is special and should be treated as such and not just be treated as a punching bag and an introduction to the game. And that is the unfortunate position that Chatacabra here has. He's the punching bag of every monster, and even his high rank version is nothing more than a punching bag. And I think that is a shame. It shouldn't be the case, and that more care should be taken for these monsters because I love this game and I want more from my experience when hunting these monsters, even if they're not the top dogs. So, yeah, feel free to agree or disagree with me. This is just my rant about the difficulty of the game and how they could maybe do a bit better with the system itself. I could talk about other things, but I've said my piece about Chatacabra and I'll end it there. Thanks for watching. Comment down below if you either agree or disagree, or if you also have any ideas on how you would change this difficulty situation. Because yeah, we have to think about this carefully because it's not just increase its health and damage and the problem is solved. No, it's more complicated than that. There are levels and skill levels and a lot of things to consider. But I think I thought about it very carefully. The game's been out for a couple months, and I'm fairly experienced in this game now. I'm not by any chance like a pro hunter in Monster Hunter Worlds. I've never fought, or never fought. I never beat Fatalis. I have tried. I've definitely tried, but Fatalis is one of those monsters I just haven't beat. I've technically beaten Alatreon. He has two versions, a weaker and a harder. I've beaten the easier. I've beaten the harder with a group. It's not quite the same though. I find group fights much easier. And so on and so forth. Alright, well, thanks for watching I suppose, and please let me know what you guys think. If not, it doesn't quite matter. I would like to continue talking about each monster individually. And if you guys do have an opinion, please let me know, and we can talk about it. Well, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next hunt.